Central Ohio, Mid-Ohio sports car course for today's Super Vee race. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. With me is IndyCar driver Derek Daly. This is the 10th race of the Super Vee season, and so far we've only had 2 repeat winners, Derek, a very competitive series.
Yes, indeed, very competitive. And this Super Vee series is one of the great training grounds for young American drivers who want to become IndyCar drivers or professional international drivers. So it's good to see that it is remaining competitive right into the last couple of rounds.
A tightly bunched field for today's race. Half of the field separated by only about a second as far as qualifying is concerned.
Again, very competitive. Good to see it. This is caused because most of the cars are made by the one manufacturer. Identical tires, identical engines, so the driver's talent really is well matched. Hence, 6 or 7 good drivers can all be within the 1 second.
The third member of our broadcast crew is down in the pit area. Here is Gary Lee.
Well, thank you, Bob. I'm standing here with Ted Prappis. Ted, you have your work cut out for you. It's a very tight race course, important to qualify up in front, and qualifications this season have not been good to you.
They've eluded us most of the season. We've had a couple of decent spots up in the first couple rows, and mostly the oval zone. The road courses have always seemed to put us back about in the 4th or 5th row, so I'm kind of used to it now. But this is a tough place. Not that many places to pass out here, and I think the traffic's going to be tight. There's a lot of hard drive and aggressive drivers up front, so I'm expecting a pretty tough go of it out there today.
And as for strategy, it's not really a long race, so you have to be aggressive early.
Yeah, I like to try to get us, if I can possibly get 1 or 2 people at the first turn usually, and then try to settle down a little bit and stuff like that. But if I can't do that, I'm just going to settle in there for the first couple laps and just make sure everything's getting all sorted out and the car's running well, and I'll try to get it going, try to get by as many as I can.
We'll keep the eye on car 98, the Skull Bandit. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you, Gary. The Super Vees, Derek's, always seem to put on a good show for us here on ESPN.
Yes, indeed. And this race in particular has 6 very, very competitive people covered by 1/10 of a second at the front of the grid. So we're looking to see a very, very closely fought competitive Super Vee event.
And we'll take a close examination of this 2.4-mile road course, and we'll look at the starting lineup when we come back to the Super Vee race here at Mid-Ohio. And the weather here is nearly ideal for an auto race. Temperature is 80 degrees. The humidity is about that high, but there's little chance of rain. Rather stiff breeze from the south at 10 to 20 miles an hour, but bright sunshine overhead. Now let's take a look at the course that these drivers will be competing on here this afternoon. It is 2.4 miles in length. We'll do that right after we check the starting lineup. In row number 1, Davy Jones in car number 2. Davy is from McGraw, New York. Outside of row number 1, from Dallas, Texas, in car number 19, Kim Campbell. In the second row, Kerry Brenn in car number 11 and Jeff McPherson in car number 3. Row number 3, Didier Tays in number 30 and Mike Groff in 14. In the 4th row, Ken Johnson in car number 1 and Jeff Andretti in 43. In row number 5, Peter Pander in car number 9 and Steve Brin in 5. The 6th row, car number 12, Matt McBride and Ted Prappis in number 98. The 7th row, number 26, Gary Rubio, and 50, Mike Hooper. The 8th row, Richard Myrie in number 70 and John Stephanus in 21. Row number 9, Jerry Peterson in car 63 and David Kudrave in number 4. The 10th row consists of Patrick Finney in number 8 and Tom Tate Jr. in 51. The 11th row, Rob Stevens in car 73 and Glenn Burrows in 64. In the 12th row, car 76, Richard Haskell and Harry Sauce driving car number 22. The 13th row, Gary Berkline in number 27 and Steve Foster in 35. And all alone in row number 14, Doug Clark driving car number 15. Those are your starters for the 100-kilometer, 25-lap event here at Mid-Ohio. Well, this road course consists of 9 right turns and 6 left turns. The width of the track is 40 to 60 feet, and as we will discuss later, there aren't very many opportunities to pass on this race course. The pace car pulls into the pit area, and the field comes down to the starter, and they did not get a start this time around. Remember, we do believe the start is being conducted on the backstretch, and Derek, you might explain why that happens and not here at the start-finish line.
That's right. The reason for this is there are so many cars accelerating into a tight 90-degree left-hand turn that they felt it was a much safer proposition to start the first lap halfway down the back straight. So in fact, they're now making their way around on the fastest of their warm-up laps, warming up the tires, checking all the temperatures. And as they enter the back straight, which is just here now, they will line up in formation again and get the green flag halfway down this back straight. It's a much safer racing situation.
They have just come through corner number 4, which is called the keyhole, and now they are on the backstretch. You can see the cars are moving into a 2 abreast formation. The drivers right now holding their positions, but in just a few minutes we anticipate a green flag in this race to be on. In fact, it is just a few seconds, and the green does come out, and the race is on. Super Vees from Mid-Ohio in competition here, and jumping out into the lead is Davy Jones, driving car number 2, the Red Roof Inns. And we do have a yellow flag being displayed, so there could have been one of the cars jumping positions, and because of that, no green.
It looked as if Davy Jones did in fact jump the start, and he brought the second row along with him. Kim Campbell went from the front row to 4th or 5th position by the time they got to that first corner. So they've seen the infraction, they have waved the yellow. Everybody will do one more lap and then take the green flag next time round, hopefully.
Davy Jones is driving the Red Roof Inn sponsored Walt, and we might mention that most of these chassis are Waltz. However, there are a couple of exceptions. One of the cars is a March and the other an Anson. We'll talk more about that later. But and a Martini also in the race, driven by Didier Tays. As a matter of fact, he won with that car not too long ago. The Red Roof Inn's car, number 2, is owned by Jim Truman, who owns this racetrack. And Bobby Rahal, who also drives the Red Roof-sponsored and Budweiser-sponsored IndyCar, won on this track earlier this afternoon. So Davy Jones is hoping that he can duplicate that feat. Moving through corner number 2, now turn number 3, and approaching corner number 4 once again. And this is the keyhole. And Derek, really the most dangerous corner, at least in the first half of the racetrack.
Yes, it is, because it is so tight. The cars are down into first gear. Everybody tries to outbrake the other driver, and really there isn't enough room here to pass. You can see all these black strips that are now on the track, but this is all the new paving that has gone on here at Mid-Ohio. It's made the surface better, but it hasn't made it any wider.
I'm not so sure that we're going to get a green flag this time. I did notice a corner worker who was waving his arms, indicating that it's going to be another lap before we get the green. So kind of a slow start. The field does begin to accelerate now, and perhaps the start of this race. Now the green flag does come out. The green is out. We see it displayed at the start-finish line, which is across from our broadcast position. And so the race is on at last. And once again, Davy Jones has jumped out into the lead. Now, last time, Kim Campbell in that white car got off to a rather poor start, but this time he falls into second position as the rest of the field comes around the portion of the racetrack, turns 6, 7, 8, and 9 that are called the S's. The next portion of the racetrack that they will be entering is corner number 12 and 13 and corner number 14. Corner 14 is called the Carousel, and it is the final turn. Actually, there are 15 turns, but it is a sharp right-hander before they hit the start-finish line. They are right now in the Carousel, headed uphill toward corner number 15, and now they cross the start-finish line and complete lap number 1.
Campbell seems to have a little bit of trouble on this full tank run early in the race. The Anson got a good start, but has lost a position on the first lap and seems to be being hounded by the man now in 4th place. So Campbell just looks to be in a slight bit of handling trouble very early in this race.
There is Kim Campbell in number 19 running 3rd. Right behind him is car number 11, driven by Kerry Friend from Newport Beach, California. Kim Campbell in 3rd position, and Kim is in one of the chassis that we talked about that is not a Ralt. This is an Anson chassis, and really you can tell a difference between the Ralts and this Anson. Now there is a number 15 car driven by Doug Clark from Haddonfield, New Jersey. Doug started this race in last position and has already dropped out of competition. Kim Campbell maintaining 3rd spot here as the lead belongs to Davy Jones. There is Kim and the rest of the field coming around corner number 11 at this point in the race course. This is a very odd-looking chassis, really, Derek. It doesn't look anything like the Ralts or the Martini.
No, completely unique in as far as it's the only one that's here at the moment. It was modeled very closely on Formula One technology because the designer of this car, Gary Anderson, that's the A-N of Anson, Gary Anderson was one of the engineers for the McLaren Formula One team for years. He set up his own racing car construction company, and this Anson is their first Super Vee chassis. Probably needs a major financial injection for it to be developed to the full extent of its capability. But you see the front row starting position here. It shows that the Anson is pretty much on the pace already.
Right behind him, Kerry Brenn in car number 11, and running in fourth position is the number, rather in fifth position is the number 14 car driven by Mike Groff. Running first is Davy Jones, and in second position is Jeff McPherson, the number 51 car of Tom Tate Jr. The driver hailing from Phoenix, Arizona has pulled off of the race course, so our second car has dropped from competition already.
This was Tom Tate's first drive with this Colin Bennett Opar racing team, and teammate to Mike Cooper, who won the oval track race back in May for Colin Bennett Racing. So Tom Tate, a very short afternoon in his first event out for Colin Bennett Opar Racing.
There is third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh running in a row here as Campbell is fighting off the challenges of Kerry Brenn and others, but at this point being able to maintain that position. Jeff Andretti is also in this line of cars, car number 43.
Campbell really will have a lot of trouble fending off number 11, Kerry Brenn, one of the Brenn brothers who follow this Super Vee trail. He has his mirrors full. He seems to be fast around the corners, but actually under braking and turning into the corners, the Ralts seems to have the advantage.
And the number 5 car of Steve Brenn gets off of the race course momentarily, but he pulls back on and rejoins the race. We go back to this battle for third position here, involving Kim Campbell and Kerry Brenn. The lead once again belongs to Davy Jones in car number 2. He took the lead at the drop of the green flag. There he is, Davy Jones from McGraw, New York. And in second position is car number 3, driven by Jeff McPherson from Santa Ana, California. There you can see Jeff McPherson in car number 3, trailing by just a few car lengths.
Campbell has lost that third place now. Brenn did in fact pass it. Campbell has now gone from the front row back to fourth place. So the Anson on full tanks is not really a match for these Ralts of Davy Jones and McPherson.
Davy Jones, earlier in the year, has been a winner on this particular circuit, and as a matter of fact has had a couple of very big disappointments. I remember there was a very unusual situation at the Meadowlands in which he was the leader, but there was an accident and somehow he got ahead of the pace car. They told him to stop at his pit area, and while he was stopped, the green came back out and the lead was taken over by someone else, and he wound up as a non-winner, but a big disappointment for Davy Jones.
We now see Campbell, who's in fact moved down to fifth position. Mike Groff in car 14 has just taken fourth position from Campbell. Campbell now down in fifth place.
There is Kerry Brenn, and right behind him is Kim Campbell. Jeff Andretti looking for the opportunity to pass Kim Campbell. Andretti in that number 43 car, sponsored by Electrolux. Jeff, of course, the son of Mario Andretti from Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
Jeff only qualified in 8th position, which was unusual for him because he's usually more to the front. So we did expect a good race charge from Jeff Andretti, and I think we see it here now. Campbell, I think he waved him by earlier on. Jeff didn't take the opportunity, but it looked as if Campbell tried to wave Andretti by a couple of corners earlier.
He made some kind of a hand gesture, and it appeared to be a signal for Jeff to go around, but Andretti instead has dropped back a couple of car lengths now. We'll see what happens here at the end of the backstretch as the cars reach their maximum potential as far as speed is concerned. In a Super Vee, what do you achieve at this point in terms of speed?
Fifth gear, they gear these cars now for about 155, 160 miles an hour. And then very hard on the brakes into the 90-degree right-hand turn. These Super Vees still, of course, have the full ground effect tunnels like the Indy cars, so they're very, very fast around the corners. And they're such a light, nimble car that they're a very, very enjoyable car to drive.
And up front, Jeff McPherson is slowly catching up with Davy Jones in the lead. We noticed that Didier Tays also moved up a position as he was able to pass Jeff Andretti on that last lap. So the leader is Davy Jones, and Jeff McPherson in car number 3 is running in second position. McPherson right now is 8th in the point standings, and his best finish of the year, 2 third-place finishes. He was 3rd at Indianapolis Raceway Park on the Oval, and also finished in 3rd position in one of the road course races.
Davy Jones, of course, moved back to Super Vee this year from a couple of seasons in Formula 3 in England. He raced in the time when Ayrton Senna and Martin Brundle were the Formula 3 superstars in England. So Davy really raced for a season in the shadow of those 2 drivers, and has now come back to the States here, hoping to win the championship, make a name for himself, and move on up to Indy cars. But still, he's very young, so he's got plenty of time to realize his ambition.
Yeah, his season over in across the ocean was not all that successful, really, and I think he was happy to get back here and compete in Super Vees, and has done quite well this year. 2 victories for Davy Jones. He won the initial race of the year in Long Beach, California, and also won at Road America on the very long road course in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
Carrying the colors, the red roof in Jim Truman's company on Jim Truman's track, his young protege. Everything is 100% for the Truman 2 Sports team this weekend.
Well, we'll run down the top 5 for you here. In first place is Davy Jones. In second spot is Jeff McPherson in car number 3. In third place is Kerry Brin. Running 4th is the number 14 car of Mike Groff. In 5th position is Kim Campbell. 6th is Didier Tays, and 7th position is Jeff Andretti. There's Steve Brin, car number 5. When he got off the course a few laps ago, there may have been some damage to that car, that perhaps a side pod or some other portion of the car is dragging on the racetrack at points.
Oh, you see Davy Jones lock up the right front brake that time. It looked as if he was going to attempt to go down the inside of Bren. Left it a bit too late to change his mind, locked up that right front tire, and just about got away with it nicely.
Jeff McPherson also able to pass Bren, so no cars once again separating first and second here. McPherson hanging back there about 3 to 4 car lengths. It looks like at this point that Davy Jones perhaps has the superior car, but we're a long way from the finish of this race. Kerry Brin still running in 3rd position as 8 of 25 laps has been completed in our 100-kilometer Super Vee race. Right back. Now for Super Vee racing. And Davy Jones and Jeff McPherson now are beginning to battle with each other for the lead. McPherson has closed in on Davy Jones and now is looking for the opportunity to pass. They're in corner number 2. Now corner number 3, headed for the keyhole, as they go uphill now out of the keyhole and onto the backstretch. Now approaching the S's into corner number 10 and 11 under the Budweiser Bridge, and now Jones opening up just a little bit of distance between himself and McPherson. Davy Jones, as Derek mentioned, tested with Formula 1 teams. He was successful in Formula 3 and in Formula Atlantic down in Australia. Last year, he competed in just 1 Super Vee race, finished 8th at Laguna Seca, but has been in all Super Vee races so far this year.
He really is giving this all he's got, because you see him using all the roads, sticks the wheels onto the grass, throws up little bits of dust every now and then, but he really has his hands full with McPherson. McPherson's car seems to be exceptionally good through the keyhole. Just here, you can see him make up that little distance. It's also very, very good down the straight, because occasionally he tries to duck inside Jones. So Davy really has his hands full with McPherson here in this race.
Davey right now is second in overall points in the Super Vee series with 87. He's won more than $19,000 in Super Vee competition. And has top five finishes, including wins, as we mentioned, at Long Beach and at Road America. His seconds have come at Detroit and at Cleveland. There's Kim Campbell once again, who is currently running in 5th position. I understand he's dropped a couple of positions, is now down into 7th position. So Campbell is falling back here after starting in 2nd spot. There is Ted Krappus. Car number 98, the Stoll Bandit. We talked to Ted just before this race started, and he was quite concerned about his 12th place starting position. And Krappus is not at this point, and he is shown in now in 9th position, so he has moved up 3 positions since the green flag drop, but still has a lot of racetrack between himself and the leader, Davey Jones. Now, Gary Lee is with the ex-champion of Super Vee competition, Ari Lyondike. He was the champion in 1984. Here's Gary with him.
Obviously, this brings back some memories.
Oh, yes, it does. Super Vee race is always exciting to watch. And now Ken Johnson, who's driving for Brovimi, he's in 8th place at the moment, so I hope he picks up a few places.
But he's also leading the point standings. Obviously, it's a very winning team. The crew knows how to win.
Yes, of course, last year we won the series, and Ken has been doing a good job. But he's got a disadvantage, which is he's still driving my car from last year. And I think now the season is progressing that he's losing out a bit to the 85 cars.
We talk about this series as the springboard of the championship cars. That was the route you took, and obviously it provided you with good experience.
Well, that's true, but I think that still we need something in between Super Vees and Indy cars. The difference is really big between Super Vees and Indy cars.
I'd like you get back to watching your driver out there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ari Lyondike from Oss Holland. Now, Ari was qualified for the IndyCar race that was held earlier here today. However, he crashed during a practice period after qualifying and was unable to compete in the race. But he's one of the many IndyCar drivers that have graduated from Super Vee competition.
Super Vee really seems to be the only way that a young driver can now make it up into the IndyCar ranks, because it follows the IndyCar series around. Almost every race the IndyCars go to, the Super Vee is a backup event. So the team managers and the big teams get to see these new young drivers perform, get to see what they can do.
And a car off of the racetrack, we can't get a good indication as to exactly who it is, but he did get back on course and is out there in competition. It could be car number 8, Patrick Finney. Yes, it is. It is car number 8. Patrick Finney from Marina del Rey, California. Now our leader, Davey Jones, and in 2nd place, Jeff McPherson. And McPherson finds himself in a battle with Kerry Bryn for 2nd place. There's Davey Jones, and the interval out to about 1.5 to 2 seconds as he comes off of corner number 2. But now Kerry Bryn in car number 11 is challenging Jeff McPherson somewhat for 2nd position. Well, Ari brought up an interesting observation. Does there need to be some type of racing between Super Vees and Indy cars, in your opinion?
I think he's probably right. To go from 170 or 80 horsepower, whatever Super Vee has, to 750 horsepower of an Indy car is a very, very big jump for these drivers. And the void that the Can-Am field at one stage was very good. If you could go from Super Vee to Can-Am cars, as Alonso Jr. did, then I think it's probably a better learning curve for the young drivers. We no longer have Can-Am. We don't have anything between Super Vee and Indy cars. But I think there is a good argument for trying to resurrect something that could be in between. I mean, we try to have kart B series, which never got off the ground. That would have been a good way in for the young drivers, but it never happened. Maybe we need to look for alternative formulas.
Car number 9, Peter Pander, a former winner this year on the Super Vee trail, has spun, and his car is stalled with half of it on and half of it off the race course. Well, it appears he does have some power in that car. As a matter of fact, the back tires are spinning, but he's getting nowhere.
He straddled the track and the grass, so the only way he can move, you can see there, the center of the chassis is actually being supported by the track just under that white line. So when the marshals pull him back, he should be able to resume his race.
Peter Pander from Heidelberg, West Germany, in the RPM Motorsports Ralt. Now, Jeff McPherson and Kerry Bryn still in this battle, and we had an opportunity earlier this weekend to talk with Jeff McPherson, who's right now in second.
I think if we looked at all the courses that you guys race, I might say this would be the greatest course for the Super Vees, but you guys really have to work up a sweat out there.
Yeah, it's working hard and hard work. This is a very demanding track. It's got some super tricky slow corners, and this corner at the end of the pit lane here, the first turn 1, it's one of the fastest corners I know of. Really demanding.
Jeff McPherson still running in second position, and we had a car that got off of the course, and that of course was Davy Jones. So Jones drops out of the lead here after going off course.
That was a disastrous mistake for Davy, because in Super Vee the competition is so close. He has no hope of making up that deficit now. He has now thrown the race away.
So that means that Jeff McPherson is in the lead at this point, with Bryn running in second position. So Davy Jones suffers another bit of disappointment here as he gets off the course while leading and drops back several positions. Back with more of this Super Vee race from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course near Lexington. Right at the race, in second spot is Kerry Bryn. Running third is the number 14 car of Mike Groff. Davy Jones was leading but got off course and has dropped back significantly. Well, Mike Groff has been following Jeff McPherson really ever since the green flag drop, but at this point, McPherson has been able to stave off his challenges.
When Davy Jones led, McPherson seemed to drop back slightly lap after lap. And now he's in a situation, although he has the lead, Bryn looks to be in a very strong position. You see him look left and right in his mirrors, wants to see where Bryn is. But Bryn looks just that little bit stronger at the moment.
Davy Jones is running in fourth position. You saw him just a few seconds ago. There he is, the red car behind Mike Groff. Fifth place belongs to the number 30 car of Didier Tays. Then Jeff Andretti, who is in sixth spot. Seventh belongs to the number 19 of Kim Campbell. In eighth position is Ken Johnson. In ninth spot is Ted Prappus. And running in 10th position, the number 12 of Matt McBride, as the leaders begin to lap some slower traffic. And now Bryn with a challenge. Can he outbrake him? No, he does not. But in the IndyCar race, Derek, and now he does. He goes to the inside, and Kerry Bryn takes over the lead. We saw a lot of passing during the IndyCar race in that corner that Kerry was unable to get around, but then the next corner he was able to.
Lovely move, very nice move. He faked and dived down the inside at the end of the straight, and then lined him up for the next left-hand turn. As soon as McPherson went wide, Bryn was in.
So Kerry Bryn, who is third in the point standings, goes into the lead, and Kim Campbell has run into one of the earthen embankments, and Campbell climbs out of the car. The corner workers go to him to see if he's okay. He appears to be as he's walking away from that car, but it made rather heavy contact and was damaged quite a bit. That occurred in corner number 11 on this 15-turn road course.
This new earth bank that Jim Truman has placed here did a superb job there, because Campbell would have hit the Armco.
And now Harry Sauce in car number 22 from Noblesville, Indiana, spins, and he is in the same predicament as we saw a few minutes ago. Half of the car on, half of the car off, and the back wheels just cannot make contact, and he essentially can't go anywhere until he gets some assistance and a push from the marshals. Harry Sauce, I should say, an interesting story because he is a judge in Noblesville, Indiana, and is looking very much for some sponsorship that will allow him to compete in the Super Vee Series full-time. Harry Sauce, car number 22 from Noblesville, Indiana. If Kerry Bryn can pull off the win today, it will be his first in Super Vee competition. He has 2 second-place finishes, however, in the most recent races at Road America and at Watkins Glen. He finished second in both of those, finds himself in 3rd position in the point standings. So Kerry Bryn from Newport Beach, California, could move up in the point standings because Davy Jones is now running in 4th position, and Ken Johnson, who went into this race as the leader in points, is mired back in 8th spot. We could have another winner on the Super Vee trail for 1985 if Bryn can hold off here. Well, the number 14 car, Mike Groff, has passed Jeff McPherson, so a change in 2nd position.
McPherson is definitely in a little bit of trouble. He's dropping back little by little each lap, and these cars have just had to pick him off. So McPherson, who started very, very strong and challenged for the lead and led at one time, is now in 3rd place because it looks as if he has got some sort of a mechanical problem.
There is Mike Groff, car number 14. Groff is 4th in the point standings, and just about 16 behind the leader of this race, Kerry Bryn. Still good close competition out there. There is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It was in the shot there very briefly. Davy Jones continuing to run in 4th position after his brief off-course excursion. Well, this track, I'm sure, is quite slippery, not only because of the 19 laps that the Super Vees have run, but because of the Indy cars that were on this course earlier.
That's right, and it's been such a hot day here. All day long, the sun has been beating down on this new track surface, and the new track surface can tend to lift all its moisture out when you get such a lot of sunshine.
Well, Mike Cooper and number 26, Gary Rubio, are involved in a race, and this is for 10th spot.
Mike Cooper, of course, who won at Indianapolis Raceway Park. We've had another spinner.
That's Gary Rubio, car number 26 from Smithtown, New York, who was trying to pass, perhaps, or at least battle with Mike Cooper, spinning off course and losing the position. As we take another look at it, we might be able to get a better idea of what happened. He was right behind Hooper when the incident occurred.
Just plain lost it, just a little bit too much power on, got onto the grass, and that was it. Spun it around. In fact, he has everything locked up there, which means he stole the engine, hence he couldn't drive out of the situation himself.
Lap number 20 has just been completed. We have 5 laps to go in this one with Kerry Bryn leading. In 2nd position is Mike Groff. 3rd is Jeff McPherson. Davy Jones is running 4th, and Didier Tays from Belgium is running in 5th position. Ohio near Lexington continue to be held by Kerry Bryn from Newport Beach, California. Running in 2nd spot is Mike Groff, and in 3rd is Jeff McPherson. You know, when I was over in Europe, I had an opportunity to watch the Formula 3000 cars in action, and I always thought of them as on an equal basis with the Super Vees, but they're quite different. Formula 3000 cars have just 100 horsepower less than the Formula 1 cars and weigh the same.
That's right, very much bigger car than the Super Vee that you see here. The Formula 3000 now is very like the Formula 1 car of 3 or 4 years ago, and it was designed to fill the void that Ari Leindyke spoke earlier on about between Formula 3 and Formula 1.
This is number 73, Rob Stevens from Garden City, Michigan, who is running just ahead of our leader, and that will be the next car that Kerry Bryn will lap if he does so before the checkered flag drops, and 21 out of 25 laps have been completed. You ever run a Super Vee, Derek?
Never actually raced them. I have driven them. The only thing I raced that was near it is a Formula 3 car when I won the British Formula 3 Championship in '77. We had Rolts and chevrons and marches just like they have here, but I've never actually raced a Super Vee.
Well, this is Ken Johnson driving car number 1. This is the team for which Ari Leyendijk won the championship last year. Right now, Ken Johnson is shown in 7th position in that car sponsored by Provimi Field. Ken Johnson from Russellville, Alabama, is in the points lead. Another car has spun, and that's the leader, Kerry Bryn. And he's also damaged the car as he is dragging, it looks like, a portion of one of the side pods.
It's the rubbing block off that left side pod. Now, if that falls off, he can finish the race, but if that doesn't fall off, I think the SCCA marshals and officials will black flag him and have that taken off the car.
So there now is the leader, Mike Groff. And Groff searches for his first win in a Super Vee. He inherits the lead after Kerry Bryn spins off the course. Well, we have seen a lot of interesting developments. Now, Kerry Bryn joins the race and comes out beside Ken Johnson, but Johnson was able to pass him there going into corner number 1.
Bryn has now lost that piece of the side pod, which means he's also lost the seal from that side pod. When you lose the seal, you lose the downforce. So there's no way that he can now be as competitive as he was earlier on. So I think he's just going to fall back and back as the race goes on.
Ted Prappus running right behind him on the racetrack. Ted Prappus in the number 98 car. Now we'll see what Ted does here with Kerry Bryn. This is the end of the backstretch. Ted goes to the inside, and Kerry moves to the left and allows Ted Prappus to pass. Nice gentlemanly move there by Bryn, who knows that the car just isn't up to snuff at this point.
With these lead changes, Davy Jones, having made a major mistake himself early in the race, may find himself back in a lead, in a battle for the lead, because he's now in 2nd place, closing very, very slowly on Mike Groff.
There is the leader, Mike Groff. His best finish prior to today is 2nd place. That was on the oval at Indianapolis. And aside from that, he's had 4 other top 10 finishes. Is 4th in the points. Mike Groff in the lead right now with 23 laps completed, with 2 more to go, and he's in corner number 2.
Very healthy cushion on Davy Jones now. So I would think if Mike can just keep his nose clean, not make a mistake, no mechanical difficulties, he's going to have his first win in Super Vee.
Groff started off this year with a 4th place finish at Long Beach in the most recent race at Watkins Glen, New York. He was in 3rd position, so he's been consistent all year long, but has never visited Victory Circle. He could very well do so here in the next few minutes. There is the interval now between 1st and 2nd position as Davy Jones battles with Jeff McPherson, and Jones runs into McPherson as he tries to take 2nd position, bends the wing, and Davy Jones will get back on course, and I don't think he's going to lose a position. The problem might be, however, that front wing rubbing against the tire.
That is another bad mistake for Davy Jones. He needs to calm down a little bit. You see it just here, just clips it. You don't need to pass there. McPherson had the line, closed the door, and Davy was fully committed but had no line to take. Hence a broken wing, possibly bent suspension, and no hope of taking the lead.
2 mistakes for Davy Jones, and there is only 1 more lap to go. There is the leader, Mike Groff, and now he has a rather healthy lead over Jeff McPherson, although we have seen some interesting things happen in this race, and we will certainly not put Groff in the winner's circle until the checkered flag drops.
Groff really has been very consistent. He stayed out of all the trouble. Here we have Jones. His office is closed for the day.
Yeah, he's decided to climb out of that car. You can see how badly that front wing is bent. And Davy steps out of the machine and calls it quits. Groff now negotiating the corners here at Mid-Ohio, on his way to what could be his very first Super Vee win.
And a very, very smooth drive. As you see, he uses all the road, goes from left to right, clips the curb, lets the car drift out. Very, very well in control. A very, very good win here.
And there is 2nd place Jeff McPherson, who has also driven a steady race and kept himself out of trouble. Here is Groff approaching the finish line, and the checkered flag falls. miles, and Mike Groff from Northridge, California wins our 100-kilometer Super Vee race. Jeff McPherson finishes in second position, and we'll wait for third. I believe here comes third position, the white car here. That would be Didier Tays, car number 30. Tays, the winner of the most recent Super Vee race in Watkins Glen, New York, finishes in third position. Fourth unofficially is going to be Jeff Andretti. In fifth position, Ken Johnson. Sixth will be the number 98 of Ted Prappus. In seventh position, Kerry Brin, who led a portion of this race. So Mike Groff wins after a set of unusual incidents here at Mid-Ohio. He'll be in the winner's circle, and we will talk with him, with Gary Lee, right after these messages.